11 plastic pipes protruding from a blank concrete wall in Delhi. It is a chilling marker of a family driven to a highly organized mass suicide by a ritual gone entirely wrong. You might assume this kind of blind superstition only preys on the isolated or the uneducated, but even at the height of analytical achievement, India's space program, this logic breaks down. Before launching multi-million-dollar spacecraft into orbit, the elite scientists behind ISRO regularly visit the Tirupati temple. They perform traditional rituals to seek divine blessings for the physics of their rockets. We see a similar pattern in elite sports. Players who undergo the most rigorous physical training on the planet, like Virat Kohli, still rely on specific pre-match rituals before they step onto the field. Irrational beliefs are a universal human default. Even the most brilliant, analytical minds on Earth often revert to these patterns under pressure. This data maps the prevalence of superstitious beliefs among India's most educated demographics. Research indicates that 61% of corporate employees rely on lucky charms or horoscopes. Among elite scientists from top institutes, that number is 1 in 4. These figures remain high even in secular, highly developed nations. 70% of Americans believe in at least one paranormal phenomenon, with similar trends observed across the UK. Magical thinking persists across all levels of society because it is a deeply embedded feature of our biological hardware, functioning independent of our education. To understand why, we have to look back 100,000 years to a high-stakes environment where a single error meant certain death. Imagine an early human foraging in the brush. Suddenly, the leaves in a nearby bush start to rustle violently. In this moment, the brain uses fast thinking. It automatically assumes the rustling is a deadly predator, triggering a panic response. Speed is a life-saving asset here. By contrast, rationally calculating wind speed takes time our ancestors didn't have. Waiting usually resulted in death. We evolved to assign meaning to unseen forces because making a false assumption keeps you alive, while missing a real threat is fatal. We no longer live in the jungle, but our ancient threat detection hardware, the amygdala, remains fully active in the modern world. Our tigers have evolved into high-stress, high-unpredictability situations like lunar space launches or championship finals, where years of work can be undone in a second. To manage this anxiety, many high performers fall back on repetitive rituals, like bouncing a ball exactly 5 times before a serve. These rituals function as a cognitive placebo. They provide a sense of order that physically lowers cortisol and calms the amygdala. This mental hack neutralizes ancient fears, creating the psychological environment necessary to perform at a peak level under pressure. The danger begins when we prioritize this psychological comfort over physical accuracy. We begin applying jungle logic to modern problems that require scientific evidence. This leads to a type 2 error, a state where the brain actively rejects objective reality because the alternative is more soothing. We see the consequences in healthcare. In India, 62% of people suffering from severe psychiatric conditions like schizophrenia are taken to faith healers rather than doctors, choosing a ritualized cure over medical science. By prizing an emotional sense of safety over physical facts, we become vulnerable to those who trade in false hope.
Con artists and cults thrive in this exact gap, weaponizing a survival instinct until it results in financial or physical ruin. Rationalists have spent decades exposing this exploitation. James Randi offered $1 million prize to anyone who could prove magical abilities under scientific conditions. To date, no one has claimed it. Faith and tradition provide necessary emotional security, but they cannot bend the physical laws of the universe. There is a hard boundary between how we feel and how the world works. You can maintain your heritage while recognizing when your brain is seeking a placebo out of fear. Critical thinking is about knowing when to face reality. By understanding the ancient software in our minds, we stop being victims of our own biology. We can appreciate our traditions without losing our grip on the facts that keep us safe.